If AI will replace you and me?
Well, of course, Shweta, as we dive headfirst into the world of artificial intelligence, it's like stepping into a whole new universe of endless opportunities and big-time questions. I mean, seriously, ladies and gentlemen, AI could totally shake things up, make our lives easier, turning industries upside down, you name it.
Absolutely, Kabir. And like Alice, I'm a little concerned about how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Well, it seems like it goes quite deep, Shweta, exactly. What about the dark side of the boon as well? Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're all about digging into both the cool stuff about AI and the challenges that artificial intelligence brings, trying to be smart about how we handle it all.
And to try and make sense of what AI will do, to what extent it will change our lives, take a look.
"2023, the rise of the machine and its dark underbelly too." Will 2024 tame AI or unleash its true potential? Will artificial general intelligence make machines smarter than humans? Is the world ready for such disruption? The battle of innovation versus regulation rages on. Will India rewrite its IT success story with AI? Let's process AI, the promise and pitfalls.
And to talk more about the promises and pitfalls of artificial intelligence, I have a dynamic panel with me. Let me call upon Alok Shukla, Director AI Vision, Samsung Research. Professor Anurag Mairal, he's a professor of biotech at Stanford, specializing in AI. Mr. Shailesh Kumar, Chief Data Scientist, Center of Excellence, AI ML, Reliance Jio. Samik Roy, Executive Director, Corporate, Medium and Small Businesses, Microsoft India. Jonathan Bronfman, entrepreneur, film producer, co-president Mars. And of course, Kartik Malhotra to take the floor and moderate the session.
Over to you, Kartik.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here with us. I think we are still waiting for Mr. Shailesh Kumar to join us, but while he comes, let's warm up to what the promise and what the pitfalls of AI are all about. Samik Roy, if I can start by asking you, Microsoft, of course, the company which is one of the lead investors into OpenAI, and I saw the videos produced by Sora just a few days ago, and honestly, scared like hell. Am I going to be in my job next year? You know, the AV that flew, that just played, my friend Justin and his team took about 2 weeks producing it. What's going to happen now? Am I really required?
Good question to start with. But look, this is AI, okay? And this is just one of the things which is coming and going to come. There'll be many such applications as we go by. But let me step back. I think this question of job creation or job elimination has always come whenever there has been an invention. And especially if the invention is big, which created an industrial revolution. Let me just step back. When steam came in and steam engine came in, people at that time spoke about a lot of manual processes going away. When electricity came in, people said a lot of now processes will get faster and people will lose jobs. When computers came in, and we all can go back to that time, people say there'll be so many jobs that will go away. When internet came in, online news came in, people will said people will stop reading print news. When online trading came in, correct, people said that's the end of brick and mortar. But just step back. India, after computers, became the womb of IT companies. Not only we have the biggest IT companies in the world, we exported talent, which brought the Indian economy up. Look at online trading. Not only are more retail shops opening, but people are also selling online and also selling brick and mortars.
Right.
So jobs will remain. This is the elasticity of the job market. The skill sets will change. And you need to change skill sets to be relevant, correct? The good thing is AI is basically making people do expertise faster. It's lower the learning curve. What does it
So
mean?
we're back to efficiency being the parameter.
Yeah. What does it mean? The previous era was about knowledge at the fingertips. With AI, you have expertise at the fingertips, which means that you will be able to do a job better and faster, and new skills will happen. So it's about new skills. It's about enabling even frontline people and healthcare workers to do jobs faster and better.
Right.
And that's what will happen.
All right. Well, let me take this to Mr. Shailesh Kumar. Of course, you know, you're chief data scientist at Jio. Jio, as we know, is the largest telecom operator in the country. How many jobs are you creating using AI as a requirement when you're employing people in the new age section of artificial intelligence?
Very good. So thank you for inviting me. And,
Thank you.
So let me talk a little bit about the evolution of AI use cases from the last 20 years to the next 20 years. I think that is the right context.
I think let's straight away move to the next 20 years. So that is what everybody is concerned about. We've
Yes,
seen what's
yes.
happened in the past. Let's see what the future entails for us.
So if you look at the last 20 years, we have done great search engines and chat GPTs. We are really culminating an era and starting a new era now in AI. But the next 20 years is all going to be about the social transformation of society, right? Like if you ask a farmer or a teacher or a patient or a mother, what has AI done for them? We have no answer yet, right? If you ask a media company or a sports company or a manufacturing company or a search company, yes, AI has done great things, but the common masses have not yet felt the power of AI, right? And the next 20 years is going to be about that. If you look at the India strategy paper on AI, it's all about, you know, healthcare, education, agriculture, mobility. The social transformation through AI is a very, you know, unfinished agenda of AI.
Right.
And I think that's where a lot of our focus will be. A lot of companies, a lot of countries are now focusing on that.
Right.
And I think we should be upbeat about what that will do to farmers. Well, drones are doing their work and they don't have to worry about it.
Right. I will discuss the social contract that AI has with society with Professor Mairal here. But in just a minute, let's just stick to who all are getting impacted with AI right now. Who are the folks who are actually out there with the opportunity that they are seeing? They also seem to be a little fearful of what the future unfolds. So Jonathan, let me first bring you into this conversation. For all of us here, Mr. Jonathan, of course, is an acclaimed filmmaker, film producer, and he, I'm sure, has watched those videos produced by Sora, and I'm just stuck with Sora in my head right now. How is your crew going to reskill or reduce in numbers with the advent of Sora?
What we saw with Sora is incredible, completely remarkable. I think changed a lot of people's perspectives with respect to AI. Specifically with what we're doing, we're trying to dissolve boundaries and we're trying to dissolve borders and make content in native tongues more digestible and more accessible. And so what we're trying to do is actually not taking away any jobs. What we're doing is something that's completely new and without the advancement of artificial intelligence would literally be impossible.
Okay, so talk about, let's say, your experience of making your film Race back in 2017, if I'm not mistaken. If you were to make that again in 2024, what is your crew size going to be? What are your budgets going to be? And what is the role that AI is going to play in making that film come to life?
Sure, yeah, well I take more of a post-production slant to it. So again, Sora being really eye-opening, I think, as it relates to visual effects in particular, an area that I've been involved with for many years. The thought of paying thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars to create these visual effects, which is a very manual, labor-intensive process, is completely removed. And Sora it's just phenomenal. Like if I want to create a flying hippopotamus in outer space, that's going to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Absolutely. Just that one scene is going to be a couple of hundred of thousands of dollars. Absolutely. So is AI something that you as a film producer are actually actively looking at right now for subsequent projects which you're likely to produce?
Well, actually, I'm looking to develop it. So with our technology, LipDub, which is a lip syncing technology, it's my background as a film producer that has contributed to wanting to advance artificial intelligence as it relates to film and television.
Right. Okay. Professor Mairal, let's bring you into this conversation. Shailesh Kumar there was talking about the social contract that AI has with population at large. With your experience at Stanford and your experience studying medicine in the context of AI, will future pandemics, hypothetically, be avoided because we will have information well in advance? Or is drug discovery, vaccine discovery going to hasten?
Great question. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. And I heard healthcare come up multiple times in the conversation here. That is one of the biggest use cases for AI, in my opinion. And the theme of the session is promise and peril, and healthcare exemplifies that really well. The examples that you provided, you just talked about, are absolutely good use cases, the promise part of AI. I'll add something else. India has 1.4 billion people. A substantial proportion of those people don't have yet meaningful access to healthcare, although India is trying to change that through Ayushman Bharat and Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. But there are 5 billion people in the world, 5 billion people out of 8 billion people who do not have good access to healthcare. In this day and age, that's inconceivable. It's not something that we should be living with. And AI has the promise to flip the healthcare access on its head, turn it from tertiary care, highly qualified, hospitals like Stanford Hospital or Mayo Clinic or AIMS to local community-based healthcare delivery.
Give us an example, sir. I mean, a 35,000 feet view is appreciated, but if you come to eye level, how is life really going to get impacted for the person who is seeking medical intervention?
I'll give you a very specific example. During the second wave of COVID in India, lots of people were affected and a lot of people did die. And part of the problem was not that India did not have the ability to deal with the pandemic. It was a panic pandemic. People panicked. And a huge reason behind that was that primary care healthcare system over the decades has been disemboweled. If you could use AI to empower ASHA workers and A&M auxiliary nurse midwives in the last mile so that they can actually not only diagnose the condition that is happening on the ground, but also take meaningful action right there so that 80 to 90% of the patients don't end up in the ICUs, in the large institutions. It changes the cost equation, it changes the health outcome, it creates jobs. So if we're talking about jobs, it actually creates new kinds of high-value jobs. These ASHA workers are going to become the new, I don't want to say doctors, but healthcare providers, which is high value for the society and high value for these workers.
Right. Alok, thank you. You've been with us waiting patiently. Before I come to you, I just want to go back to Samik Roy. Samik Roy, ASHA workers, last mile healthcare delivery workers enabled with AI. Is there a conflict of ethics here?
No, it's not. It depends on how you use AI. And whenever we talk of AI, we talk about ethical AI. In Microsoft, we call it responsible AI. And as we stand today, there are 6 principles around AI: transparency, fairness, inclusivity, accountability, privacy, security. As long as these principles are being adhered to, and you're using technology for ethics, fairness, and betterment of society and people, it should be fine.
Okay. Dr. Shailesh Kumar, again, the same question, slightly, rephrased. Should human beings rely on AI-enabled caregivers as a supplement to professional doctors?
Yeah, I think whenever we have seen AI touching any vertical, it has really accelerated the what we call personalization at scale.
Right.
And that is what really AI brings, whether it is education, healthcare, or... So we have built, for example, an AI bot that can diagnose your disease in all Indian languages for all the top 500 diseases in India. What does that do? Is it now brings a clinician to your home. You are a mother at 2 o'clock at night, your baby is having a certain symptom, there's no hospital nearby. AI can come to your rescue and say, hey, tell me the symptoms. Oh, you need an ambulance, I'm going to send an ambulance, right? Or you just need a home remedy, do this and you're done. See, the level of comfort that people will have when the trust issues and others are resolved and regulations are done, then, an AI doctor at every home, an AI tutor at every home, an AI legal advisor for everyone.
Right.
Just imagine the possibilities. And I think
the possibilities are endless, and I think it's an opportune time to bring in Mr. Alok into this conversation. Alok, none of this delivery of AI will actually happen without some physical interface in place. So bring to us your Samsung experience. What are the new technologies that we're going to see manifest in the form of physical tech that can be used to deliver any of these solutions which are being spoken about?
Yeah, good morning everyone, and thanks to TV9 team for having me here. I think we have seen India shining under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And I think yesterday we talked about the soft power, and now we are here to discuss the power of AI. The AI has a tremendous power to analyze a large amount of data very quickly. And today, a large amount of networking and large amount of the instrumentation which happens in the industries are being controlled and monitored by the AI, which eventually is helping to save a lot of power and effectively improving the efficiency of these industries. When it comes to the human life, we are all wearing multiple gears in our body itself, right? Starting with the gear wear and the smartphones. We are always carrying these tech with us. A lot of data which these techs are actually utilizing has been helping us to understand our behavior, understand our physical activities, and giving recommendations for the human being to improve its wellness and help it to be fit. So that's how AI has been really tremendously empowering every person to have a better well-being as well as improving the social aspect of the society.
Right. So, Professor Mairal, if I can come back to you, there is obviously reliance on a lot of data which is getting captured through all these wearable devices that Alok just spoke about. Is there a possibility of bias, AI hallucinations creeping in with hard data that you're receiving? And then that could mean something completely different for those who are at the receiving end of the healthcare solutions.
That's a great question. That's the peril part in the session. Most of the healthcare in the world is provided to people who have resources, and most of the data is with the wealthier part of the society. So if you create AI algorithms that are trained on data that already has a bias, then are you going to create healthcare solutions, women and children from underserved communities? Are you going to create AI solutions that are already going to have bias in sort of identifying diseases and treating diseases? I think this is where India can play a major role. What I mentioned, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. It's one of the most impressive, most ambitious infrastructure programs of its kind. You're basically getting data collection and use of that data to the remotest parts of India, and the data that you collect from that, especially if it's cleaned up, it's annotated correctly, it can serve to train engines that would eliminate that bias.
All right, okay. I want to spend, we are about halfway into our discussion already. I want to spend some time now on something which is absolutely critical to India right now, and that is India doesn't yet officially have an AI regulation in place. Now, there are two schools of thought here. There's a US side, which is pro-innovation, innovation, and there's the EU side, which is not seen as much pro-innovation. India has a tough job right now to find that right balance between innovation and regulation. Mr. Shailesh Kumar, if I can come to you, what is that fine balance that India needs to tread? And when does regulation become over-regulation at the cost of throttling innovation?
Yeah, see, I think there's a lot of ways to make sure that proper AI is practiced, right? Privacy-preserved data coming out of all sources can be made available. If you know some random ID and my gene pool, that doesn't make it privacy violation, right? Okay. You can do all the research on it. So I think a very clear understanding on the boundaries, how to make sure that privacy, identity and behavior are separated to make sure that somebody who has your data doesn't know who you are, and somebody knows who you are doesn't have your data. If we make this very, very clear, this is a very simple way to make sure that, we can do a lot of innovation behind the unknown, user and create solutions for everyone, right? So I think it's not an ambiguous question. We know how to take care of it. right? And still do great innovation. The place where the two things combine, that's where the danger is. So if I'm an AI tutor company and if I start selling the data of a child to the next employer, that's a boundary we are crossing, right?
Right.
If I'm looking at your SMS data for financial scoring, but if I also misuse it for your healthcare purposes and sell that SMS to a healthcare provider, that's a misuse. So this is where, clear regulations have to be done. IPC laws have to come in very, very strong.
Right.
And that's when we will be comfortable that, we are all using AI.
Right.
For the
A related question, since Reliance is also getting into data centers actively, so is hosting data centers within the confines of the country then going to aid this process of segregating data and creating that layer of anonymity?
Yes, I think, like any other physical resource, right? If you look at gold or nuclear or iron ore is a sovereign property, data is in that sovereign property world now. Everybody understands that. And yes, so I think having good data centers within India will make sure that, we are, even if Microsoft wants to do research on Indian data, they'll stay here and do it. And that will create the sovereignty boundaries that we need with all resources, most importantly, the data resources of the times.
All right. Samik Roy, if I can bring you into this innovation versus regulation, which side are you tilting? And is there a versus in between, or does it have to be an and?
I like what you said, is there needs to be a balance between the two. If you put too much regulation, you will clamp in innovation. And that defeats the very purpose of the innovation itself. So there needs to be a fine balance. The good thing is that there are a couple of steps which the government is taking rightly. The DPDP bill is a very important one because it brings in a lot of regulations and the right regulations of privacy, security, safety around data. And as I said, the good thing about AI is when it's used ethically for the right purposes. And one of the 6 principles is privacy and safety, correct? The entire base of AI, and for AI to be successful, is data. And today we have got humongous amount of data. You talked about data centers. Microsoft has got 4 data centers which it has invested in and will invest in more. And we comply to each rule and regulations. So as long as there's rules and regulations are giving that area and the framework of security and the ethical use of AI, it's all good.
All right, Jonathan, let's bring you back into this very interesting conversation we are having. Since we are talking privacy and since we are talking hosting of data, there is also concern about misuse of privacy. And we've seen deepfake really rear its ugly head. Along with the rise of AI, there was also a rise of deepfake and unethical use of deepfake. You work in the film industry. It's a pertinent challenge there. As a producer, how are you overcoming that?
Yeah, I think it's a hugely important consideration, and the ethical use of AI is critical. Misrepresentation is the worst of it, and it can't be allowed. It needs to be banned, and people need to put in the regulations and the boundaries to enforce that. With a deepfake, the trick is, if you want to know if it's real or not, you tell the deepfake to look to the side, and that's what breaks it. So, you got to be very careful.
Okay, but in the contracts which you are perhaps increasing, right? If you're, sorry, I think there's some disturbance in my audio. Yeah, so I was coming to the question of deepfake. Now, in the context of deepfake, the contracts which you are now signing with actors, do they change? Does the legal language change, giving you as a film producer access to their images, access to their voice, access to their style, even beyond the longevity of the actor?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Are actors signing it willingly?
It's at the early days, but certainly it's being baked into contracts now. And in North America, there's union controls, so they're making sure that actors are taken care of. But ensuring that you're not misrepresenting someone or using their likeness in a way that is not authentic and in the spirit of what they stand for is a very big problem. But at the same time, it creates huge opportunities. So to this panel's point, AI can be used for very, very good things, so long as there's not malicious intent.
All right, Professor Mairal. There's also this excitement and concern, promise and pitfall, right? So there is excitement and concern about AI coupled with, let's say, 3D printing and organ transplants become that much more efficient, easier, cheaper, and perhaps leading to a point where human beings could perhaps become immortal. Is that still work of science fiction? Because a lot of science fiction that we are seeing or we have seen is actually turning into reality. So is human immortality still in the realm of distant fiction?
Very interesting question. I remember first when I moved to the Bay Area about 27 years back, I attended this Futures Institute talk where this thought leader said, we can live for 150 years today. This is 25 years back. And said we have the potential to live on up to 1,000 years with all of the technologies that are going to come in the next 2 years. And I've spent most of my career in health technology innovation, and I can tell you that's very much possible. But does it mean it's the same human being that lives on for that long? I don't know. I do want to come back to the innovation versus regulation question, if you don't mind. I think is a good way to think about it, but I would also add innovation in regulation is needed. Often what happens is regulators are always chasing the tail. They are so far behind in understanding where the arc of innovation is going that they tend to be a little regressive about how the frameworks come about. My recommendation would be to think about regulation as a framework, have common principles on which it's based, recognizing that AI is going to evolve constantly. We already are in a very different era. It's just in 2 years, ChatGPT, when it first came out, I played with it, and ChatGPT today is very different from ChatGPT the first time that it came around. So I think as long as regulators understand that, they have a framework, and it's based on principles rather than very rigidly written rules, I think we would be okay.
Okay. I want to now take this conversation. We've got just about 5 minutes or so left. I want to pivot now to something which is very critical for India's own ascendancy in the world of artificial intelligence, and that being the whole GPU supported by semiconductors movement. We've got a gentleman from Samsung here, and we haven't seen any headlines of a large manufacturer like Samsung really taking part in the India semiconductor story. Is that something you're considering seriously?
Definitely. I think the GPU power is very essential for empowering the AI innovations. Currently, we see that globally there are monopolization of GPU resources, and there are few industries who are monopolizing the GPUs. I think it is necessary to put strict regulations so that we can have a fair competitions, and as well as the AI is accessible to all the members, right? Take an example of Indian universities. It is very difficult for Indian universities to access the infrastructure which is available to the West, right? By bringing all these industries along with the universities, giving those students the access to the high infrastructures of GPUs, we can actually leverage the student infrastructures and empower the AI innovations. So one of the great examples what we built in India is Bharat GPT, right? It came from the collaboration of industries as well as the universities coming together. So I think it is important for the government to take a precautionary actions as well as industries to join hands with those universities to empower the AI innovations.
Right. Since you mentioned Bharat GPT, Shailesh, let's come to the Hanuman in the room. Bharat GPT, an Indian AI model learned on 7 Indian languages, if I'm not mistaken, if I read the news correctly. Where does it go from here?
So I think we need to think of the, instead of large language models, small language models. So what we are looking at is, if you look at languages on one axis and domains on one axis, right? Agriculture domain, healthcare domain, media domain. So domain cross language, small language models is, I think, the wave of the future.
Okay.
And instead of one gigantic model,
SLMs, not LLMs.
Yeah.
All right.
SLM at some point, right?
Right.
So small language model. That is one approach. And I think language models have reached their hype cycle, maybe a few more years. But I think there's a lot more that has to happen, right? And we got caught up in, statistics was AI, then machine learning was AI, then this is AI. Now we think Gen AI is AI and nothing else, right? I think reducing the notion of what AI is a very dangerous path. There's a lot more to it if you look at Jan LeCun and all. Right. Unless AI can invent by itself the next drug, using reasoning and planning on
Right.
all the knowledge of the world without a prompt engineer doing any prompt engineering.
Right.
We have not reached the ultimate potential of AI.
We
So
just have to
I look
ensure that the
forward to-
drug regulator is not using AI to give that drug a clearance.
Huh?
Will we have to ensure that the drug regulator is not using AI to give a clearance to that drug?
Yeah, see, the drugs manufacturing will be a lot faster and unhindered by the biases of capitalism. you know.
Right.
And because AI does not have a moral compass, I think we can use it both ways. Let's hopefully use it in the right way.
Samik Roy, I want to come back to you, and there's something that, and you said it beautifully, that what has Gen AI, ChatGPT done? It's given UI to AI, user interface to artificial intelligence. But slightly divergent from you, the next 10 years, a lot is going to change in AI. Where is it that you think India needs to proceed to maintain that hegemony that we've had in IT services? Is IT services, AI-supported IT services, India's game for the next 10 years? Or is it semiconductor manufacturing, sub-20 mm, 28 mm semiconductor fabs, which then go into GPUs, which can challenge, with the push on manufacturing, with the outlay on PLI and semiconductors, challenge the NVIDIAs and Huawei's of the world?
See, I'll talk about the ultimate objective. All of these are either supporting the infrastructure or the layouts to basically proliferate AI. What we should focus on is how do we make AI and democratize technology, because AI is going to be in the core of technology anyways. We all are impacted by AI positively. We all are using AI, small or big, is about how we are embracing AI. I don't know if you noticed, let's say you're going and doing an SMS to your family members in the evening,
Auto-suggest.
correct?
Yeah.
And say, I am going to be, it says late. That's
Yes.
AI,
Yes,
correct?
true.
So what we should focus on is consumerization of AI, democratization of technology, because that will help to make the lives of every individual and every organization better,
Right.
which indirectly helps the economy of the country and the world.
So you're saying concentrate still on the services, on the layers that you build on existing AI architectures. But what about semiconductors? Isn't that absolutely crucial to any AI factory out there? And should India try and take a lead in that as well?
All of these things will automatically happen. When you make great cars, great roads automatically come in. So these things will happen. You asked the question about GPU, you asked the question about local manufacturing.
Right.
I think all of them will happen. But the end result should not be forgetting, which is getting AI in the hands of every person to make the economy better.
All right. Shailesh Kumar, cannot let you go before asking you another big, large fear which is emerging called AGI. Artificial General Intelligence, where is that going to take? And is it really potent enough to challenge human beings and their intelligence?
So, we are building towards it. Knowingly, unknowingly, we are building towards it, right?
What is it? Just demystify
Yeah.
for us. How
Yeah.
is AGI different from AI?
So if you look at the 5 core elements of intelligence in my mind, the ability to learn, the ability to think, the ability to understand. Now we have crossed the 4th layer, the ability to generate or be creative. The 5th stage is what everybody is worried about, the ability to be sentient, consciousness, right? So I think so in a way we have been building towards it, all the building blocks are there. Something that says, why do I need a human to do a prompt? I should be able to do it myself.
Yeah, but somebody has to think of that prompt, right? Who thinks? Does the machine think?
That's right. So if you think about the real general intelligence that we have, we are not driven just by intelligence, but also by goals. Goals, short-term, long-term goals. Today, the goals that are given to AI are still by humans. Humans are telling what AI should do. And the moment AI decides to take away that freedom from us, that is what everybody is really worried about. And, we've seen science fiction movies, but, Jeff Hinton has now started a whole journey on, the dangers of AI and all that. So really the question is, do we want to get there versus when are we going to get there? I think we need to debate these 2 questions very carefully.
Samik Roy, do we want to get there?
See, as you rightly said, that journey has happened, and it's a matter of time. And research says 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, we don't know when it will get there. But it will be the most powerful and intelligent computer which will be created, which will be able to do everything that human beings and animals is able to do today. And the thing is about how do we use it on a positive framework to do things much better and faster than we are able to do today. Can we actually, we talked about the pandemic, and it took 6 months to come out with that drug. But with that, can we actually predict that the pandemic will happen and able to come out with the drug in days rather than 6 months? And again, helping the society, helping the people to be better.
All right, gentlemen, we have run completely out of time on this exciting session, which has hopefully educated us on the promise, of course, but also the pitfalls of AI and how we as a nation and as a society need to navigate. Gentlemen, thank you so much. A pleasure having all of you here with us this morning on the News9 Global Summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, an esteemed set of panelists over there. Thank you so much, Kartik. You know what, Shweta, it's still too soon to say if Sora is going to be a sorted situation or a sorry situation.
I hope not, Kabir. I hope not. I think my understanding of the entire discussion is that it's going to take a while. You'll need more people trained on AI as opposed to AI taking away jobs. That, I think, would be the summing of this fabulous discussion panel on pitfalls of AI.
Among the many revolutionary changes in India over the past decade is its payments ecosystem as well, ladies and gentlemen. There are over, mind you, 2,000 UPI transactions being made every second today.
And I'm sure all of you are using that Paytm or using UPI in one form or the other. Digital India is no longer a distant dream, but pride of India and envy of others. Leading the charge from the front in India's digital payment ecosystem is emerging Fintech story. India's Fintech players, 20 of whom have become unicorn in the past 10 years.
Wow. In fact, let's also tell the viewers that India ranks third among fintech unicorns in the world. But surprisingly, Shweta, 72% fewer Indian fintech startups were incorporated in 2023. So what's happening here?
You know, the regulatory and compliance ecosystem is fast changing, and fintech players are faced with a new working climate, so to say, which is either comply or perish. Take a look.
Banking has been credited with tech. Cash is no longer king. Checkbooks and passbooks have bounced, and bank visits are nearing expiry. A QR code and a smartphone have changed the way India transacts. UPI's global demand is only rising, and innovation with digital currency is gaining momentum. India's fintech glory is unparalleled, but even a single glitch can spell doom. With all its technology might, compliances and regulations are non-negotiable. Are India's fintechs ready to rise above the race for customer acquisition and valuations? Fintech 3.0, challenges and opportunities.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to call Chairman BharatPay and former Chairman SBI, Mr. Rajneesh Kumar, onto the stage. A very warm welcome, sir.
Let me also call upon TV9's Anshuman Tiwari to host this session.
Over to you, sir.